I was in Riyadh. One of the first things you do when you go into an area that you're not familiar with, they call it parachute journalism in those days, is go to the American Embassy and check in with the press attaché and get a little briefing on the lay of the land and what's going on, what you need to be careful about. And among other things that the press attaché told me about was, I remember he told me you should assume that your telephone calls are being monitored, which I didn't think much about after that. I got real interested in the way these different political factions were kind of impinging on the king of Saudi Arabia, King Fahd, at that time. You had the old fundamentalist Sunni Muslim clerics who kept Saudi women in veils and denied them the right to drive cars. Then on the other side, the kingdom was modernizing very rapidly. They were building very large universities almost overnight. So you had well-educated Saudi women who could travel to London on a shopping trip, or Paris, or Washington, and then they had to go back to Saudi Arabia and put on some silly garment. I was getting together a story on how the king was trying to cope with these various forces that were closing in on him, sort of. And I was reminded of this conversation I had with the press attaché when some man from the Ministry of Information called me and said, you must finish your business and leave the kingdom. That's what he said. And I said, well, my visa is good for a few more days. He said, no, you should go today. Well, that would have been a hell of a problem for me. But there was nothing I could do about it. They were sent somebody over to get me and accompany me to the airport. I had started writing the piece I was working on, so I managed to get it written and get it filed back to the bureau. I got the story in. And so they sent a handler, a keeper, over from the information ministry. He didn't speak a word of English. And I got in his car with him and got my bags and all, and we went to the airport. And there was nothing written in that airport in English. I mean, it's just Arabic, except I saw one side said Dhahran. And just as I saw that sign, the keeper told me he had to go to the bathroom. So he went to the bathroom and I went to Dhahran.